Okay, I guess we are live. Checking out. The connection seems to be working. Sounds good. Alrighty. Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing? How is the time of the day? Depending where you are. It's afternoon, 6 p.m. in my time in Czech Republic. Oh god, I see already a lot of when it will start. It starts now. So I see a lot of links. So I'll start adding those. Cool. So for those of you who's first time here, first and actually the last time, apparently, we are gonna start with the portfolio review in 2-3 minutes. The idea is pretty simple. Drop your portfolio link right now to the chat. And I will start adding them right now to the randomizer. And in 2 minutes, we are gonna start randomizing the portfolios. We will first review 6 portfolios, actually 5 portfolios really quick for the first impression. And then we will go and review one portfolio in depth. So basically, yeah, spending 30 minutes almost for one portfolio. Okay, so I am dropping links right now. Also, quick recommendation that if you are dropping Behance link, it's really not great for full-time applications. So I do not recommend you to do that. Website would be the best approach, but you can still, of course, drop the Webflow, no, sorry, not Webflow, Behance portfolio link. It's just usually not recommended for the hiring managers. Practically because it's very hard to convey your thinking process there, tell your story there. It's much more tailored towards visual outputs, sort of portfolio rather than the product design full-time role. Okay, I'm copying as I'm talking. I'm copying the link, so sorry for my multitasking right here. Okay, few more links. Alrighty. Who is it going to be today? By the way, if you did drop your link last time, then don't do it again because we still have your link in the randomizer. I don't remove links there every week. It's just whoever has been reviewed, I'll remove their links, and that's it. Pretty much once is enough. Okay. Oh, 9 more, 9 more links already. Give me a second. I'm trying to go with the speed. No, no, Ren, you're not too late. Everything is good. 2 more, well, actually 1 more minute and we will get started. I'm still copying the links right now to the randomizer. It's already 47 links. Oh my gosh. That's a lot. Okay. Anyways, we still have 6 portfolio links for today. So, I mean, we will review 6 portfolios. So it should be pretty good chances anyways. Okay, Anas, Ren, I see you submitted your portfolio link twice. No need to do it twice. Once is enough because we will have if your portfolio has been reviewed before, then obviously you don't need to do it again. Okay, so Carrie, gosh, it's a lot of links. It keeps coming. Oh my god, I did not expect so many links. I think today we have the biggest amount of portfolio links ever, which is exciting in a way, but at the same time, that's a lot. Okay, so drop them all. Yay! Success. So we have oh my god, we have 53 links for review, submitted for review. So I'm really hoping that somebody who have put their link today will be reviewed because you never know. Sometimes we're reviewing portfolios from the previous calls, but that's why it's been a series of 6 calls, and today, unfortunately, is the last one. But nevertheless, I think we still have good chances for reviewing. Okay, so Josie, yeah, that was the last one. Alrighty, so let's get started. I will start sharing my screen. And by the way, I see that Susan has dropped the question already in the question tab. So for those of you who's the first time using Superpeer, if you have any questions, as I'm going through the portfolio links, feel free to use this second tab, questions tab, for your questions. And as soon as we are done with the portfolio reviews, I will then switch to the questions tab and we'll start answering as many as possible. And of course, if you like some question, if you feel like this is important one to discuss, just upvote it and obviously it will be prioritized. So we will make sure we will answer that question. Alrighty. Oh, and by the way, always forget something. For those of you who's not familiar, I am working on the online course, basically online portfolio strategy course, all about how do you stand out in your application, different strategies, different tactics, the mindset you need to understand, and of course, a lot of templates, community, all the practices like whiteboarding challenge, as well as strategy, prioritizing the right companies, all that stuff, or even the mock. It's not mock up. It's mock interview with the hiring manager. Everything will be included right there in the course. So if you are interested, I'm planning to finally launch it in 3 weeks. I really hope so, at least if the time allows. So in 3 weeks, it will be finally live. But if anyone wants to book their place, it's only 20 people. Basically, it's going to be small community based because I want to review everybody's portfolio and I want to be involved in everybody's hiring process so I can help everybody personally. So if you want to book your spot, actually there is already like a pre-sale link available. I'll drop it in the chat right now. So I'll drop it, and obviously if you're interested, you can just book your space right away. But in 3 weeks, I will make it official and put everything live. All right, that's pretty much it. I will also add this link to the start question so you can find it later as well. But now let's actually go into portfolio reviews. Yay! So I will share my screen and we will share this window. Fantastic. Fantastic. Great. Let me just do it like this. No, do like this. It's going to be easier. So you should be able to see my screen. And let's start with the first portfolio. Will be the speed portfolio. So we will go for the. Now let's open this link. Um, Wait, give me a second. No, I didn't see it. Okay, good to, because it's a very popular template. I had a feeling that I have seen this portfolio. Probably not, but this template is familiar to me, so I'm not super sure. Well, we'll review it anyways. So first portfolio we'll review by Lindita. The second portfolio will be, let's see if it will be Tiara by Design. Alrighty, so second one is Tiara. It's going to be Notion portfolio. Ooh, nice. Okay, looks interesting. Okay, I'll copy this link. Sometimes Fill of Dames for some reason does not save the links. Remove it. The next one will be Anna Butska. All right, we have 2 instances by Anna. Good chances. So congratulations, Anna. You'll be the next one. Let's click on this. Of course, it removes the link again. But good, I have saved it. So remove all the instances. 2 more for the quick reviews. That's gonna be Harsh Designs. Let me actually duplicate this link because I can see that it's just removing our link sometimes. So let's go Harsh Design and remove this link. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more for the speed ones. J. Yay, J. Okay, let's also duplicate this portfolio link and go for it. Yes, remove it. Alrighty, so we have 5 portfolio links for the quick first impression, and then let's now also do one that we will be reviewing in depth after all of the other portfolio links. So who's it gonna be? It's gonna be Robbie. Woohoo, Robbie Hines. Congrats, looks great. Alrighty, so congrats everybody who will have reviews today, and let's get started with the first portfolio link. So first we had Lindita. Actually, she has shared her portfolio, her project link. So I'll go into it in a second. But I also try to quickly go for the first, because obviously, first impression, because obviously when you are reviewing portfolio, imagine I'm a hiring manager, I will first click on your homepage and I will try to understand who you are, I'm in the right place, and then I'll review the link or portfolio specifically. I will copy this portfolio so I don't lose it, but I will copy later on. I mean, I will check out specifically this project because I believe that Lindita wants us to look into this particular project. Okay, so my first impression is imagine I'm a hiring manager. Always, I always try to start from this perspective, right? Imagine I'm a hiring manager. My daily life looks like I have a lot of responsibilities. I have maybe like a team of 5 designers to manage, and I'm looking for designer for specific role, right? So I know the team there. I know what kind of mindset of the designer I'm looking for, and it's usually me trying to sort of analyze if the designer fits in that role. But also an important other piece of context is that I'm very busy, right? I only have like 20 minutes or maybe sometimes 30 minutes a day to review portfolios. I don't have hours to do that because that's not the key responsibility in my work as a design manager or whatever director, whoever is hiring. And so it's very important to keep in mind that hiring managers always are busy and their default state is like they don't have time to read your portfolio. So we will go through this link literally with that mindset. And since like I have mentioned also, typically hiring managers, they know who they're looking for. They know what kind of team it is. Is it like a team where everybody, I don't know, is like super nice, or somebody is like who needs a bold person with strong opinion, or somebody who needs to be, I don't know, very focused on workshops, etc., right? So hiring managers would know the perfect profile for that role. And since I do not know where specifically Lindita is targeting, I will be just sort of reflecting on what I am seeing and what this portfolio is telling me. And I hope that Lindita would then take this information and sort of apply it to the context, to the companies where she believes this would be a great fit. And that's always a homework or research that Lindita in this case will have to do herself. Okay, so Lindita is UX designer, background photography. I have done in capturing images and crafting experiences. I really like that Lindy mentions background in photography. It gives me an idea what kind of sense of style she might have, but it's not enough for me in terms of her personality, to be honest. I've gone from capturing images to crafting experiences. I mean, it's pretty clear when you say I'm UX designer and I have background in photography. It already gives me an idea that capturing images to crafting experiences is what you have gone from to, right? And so I don't think you need to repeat the same piece of information, but I would definitely want to expand just a little bit more about your personality. So give me an idea about what mindset do you have, right? What do you believe is the key principle as a designer? What key principles you have, or things such as your, I don't know, thinking style. Or I don't know, I'm great at workshopping, or I'm great at uh, design systems, or I like to, I don't know. I'm good at analytics and stuff like that. So given any idea about your strong sides plus how your background helps you in your design approach, that really would help me to kind of, you'll do homework for me. I will not have to figure it out through your case study. Plus it's really helpful when you mention where you are located, if this role requires basically to be on site, and maybe years of experience, even though it's usually not like hard set in stone, but it's just good an idea to have an idea about what kind of portfolio I'm looking at. Okay, and also another piece of information. I think I'm keep answering this, keep saying this, but it's very very useful when you have a photo here, because for the first impression, you start building a relationship with this person. You start trying to understand who you're talking to, and the first places in the first stages, you're always like quickly going through the portfolio. So as sooner as you can be remembered, and we as human beings always remember faces. We capture images in our hand, and we kind of like are very prone to remembering faces. And so if you have this, it's easier to start building sort of mental connection with who you are. And this image doesn't tell me who you are, so I'm like even not sure like I have no idea basically. And it doesn't help me. It's a nice 3D, gives me an idea that you might have a good aesthetic sense. However, it gives me no idea about who you are, and that's probably your key goal. And your thumbnails, when I looked through them, I felt like they have a very strong contrast. So I did mention that the first impression is really nice. It's very light. But as I go down, then I don't like that we have this one as sort of prioritized project is not even published. So it's coming up, meaning that it's actually not available. So it's like a bummer experience. Instead of delighting me with something cool, some cool impression, first impression project, you're kind of telling me it's not ready, come back later. So you're giving me the dead end. It's not a great experience. And then other few projects, in general, I think the first two looks good. However, I feel like the contrast is very strong here. It's very light here, but then here it's very like bold, black and white. Um, I'd love to have more air in this experience, especially since you have also the background. So font background is black. So if you squint your eye, you will see that it's very like it stands out. It kind of draws all the attention, and you don't want to focus on the fonts. You actually want to focus on the content of these thumbnails. Plus, I can see that they're a little bit squeezed, so the resolution here is kind of not perfect. Um, I do still feel like I have seen this portfolio, so maybe I'm repeating myself regarding this portfolio. Also here, for example, this is a very bad thumbnail because you are telling me here, first of all, I cannot see anything here. Secondly, it's a footer. I don't know why I need to see the footer. It's a redesign of the footer. Okay, now I see. Interesting. I don't know if redesign of the footer should be the full project unless you work for a huge company like, I don't know, Microsoft, where footer could be a big deal. But for the website, not so sure. Anyway, it's interesting to me. Um, product product cards to increase sales. I mean, it sounds like two parts of the same project, just different projects. I don't know why. Anyway, so these two looks good. They are telling me you are focusing on a product design. And if I'm looking for a product role, I will probably look in one of those projects. I will probably click on this first one. Quickly going into who you are. Again, no photo here. Oh, finally, photo here. Uh, it's a really nice like approach. I think it's creative, but I still don't understand who you are. Here you have like teared face, and I don't know if you want to communicate something so depressive. But again, it's you're having a nice. You said you have a big photography background, so you're really having interesting background. I just want to see more professional photo than something so crafty because it doesn't. I don't understand who you are from this photo exactly. So professional photo, white background, persona personality, something that I'm looking for. Endorsements, okay, I'm not gonna read these, but I can see that you have photo experience pretty recently. Uh, okay, trainee, okay, good, that's kind of a CV. Okay, and I think you have a for photography. Yeah, you kind of have the photography. I don't need to see this here. Yeah, definitely has in this portfolio. I think we have reviewed it before, but I don't really need to see this. I think it has to be either a separate page or like my hobbies or like in between. If you are interested, click here to show more. But generally, you don't have to put it in your homepage because I'm not looking for photographer. Now, let's go back to the portfolio you did send. I'm gonna open that link and quickly go through it. Um, Effortless checkout experience project for Scandinavian photo. Okay. Um, Effortless checkout experience. I'm just curious if it is designing from scratch or redesigning. Just giving me a bit more context would help me understanding what type of project it is, and also is it like a web design? Is it an application? Just not sure. And also remember, I mean, see, I'm very busy hiring manager, so I don't have so much time to remember in details. But here you showed this is an app, and once I clicked on it, it was not showing me anymore the preview. And it's important that you help me kind of progressing through the project, building that story step by step, hold hand in experience for me. And I don't see the end project here. It's very important that you always first show the end result, so I see if it's something I want to consider, if I want to check out more about, read further, get engaged with it, or nah, the details aren't great, so kind of probably check not continue. Okay, again, I'm missing here the last project, so I'll probably just go down, 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 see what's the result of it. Okay, here's the result. This is what I would look for in the beginning of the project. This is something I really want to see early on. Um, it's not a bad shot. I like in general how it looks. It gives me pretty good actually. If you're a junior designer, trainer designer, I think you have a very good potential. Um, I would hire you for junior role probably because you have a nice like it's not perfect, and I don't know how much of it have been done by you, but more or less it does look good. Oh no, okay. Interaction design sometimes is not great because radio buttons here is not a good choice, but generally you have a sense of style, and generally I think you understand the proportions not so bad. So for junior designer, it's a pretty good start. Um, okay, now I will go back because obviously I now need to. If I'm looking for a junior designer, it would make sense for me to continue. Small details like I don't understand why this arrow is slower than this. Whatever, it's just OCD. Anyways, 50% of common tickets regards different. Okay, overview is great. I like you have set up the very strong context here. I don't need to see bullet points and then dashes here. It's just a bit of a confusing experience. Maybe it's by probably it's just a bug or whatever, just an accident. But basically, it's like weird to have bullet point and the dash here. My process, I don't need to know your process, to be honest. I believe you're following design process. I think everybody is, and the results usually show that. The team, individual project. Oh, that's very nice. You mentioned your mentor. I would also recommend to include their link because it's pretty cool when you can see who what designer, what kind of specialty this designer has, which would give me an idea what kind of thinking you were adapting. Um, no limitations. Okay, great. The challenge customers are unaware of the orders. Solution? Is it like a link? This link is broken if it is a link. I don't know why. Like it's interesting because you start from challenge and then immediately sounds like you have done the solution. Or maybe it was a title. This is confusing. It looks like a link, so I wanted to click on it. And I was also confused. Why do you have solutions so early on when I'm starting to trying to understand the process? Um, but okay, I see that it's probably a title. That's confusing. So, uh, okay. I think like it's important. It's good when you mention in the earlier stages of the project your solution, but more like in an impact way. So you don't want to say I have redesigned this tab or I have redesigned this page. It's more important that you say my work has increased whatever conversion rate, something like this by 20%. That is the impact. That's the solution. Not even solution. I would call it just a result or impact of it. It's better than if I would just try to explain it because I didn't even get the whole process and didn't get the story. And immediately you're telling me things you have changed, but I haven't even seen the project, right? I haven't seen the before and after. I don't understand the concept. Same here. It's really nice that you start from challenges. I would just keep these, like these black ones. Customer are unaware. Customers are assume, blah blah, because it's already enough of the text for me, and I will not read those kind of texts. It's a lot, but it's kind of really nice framing. I would say copy wise, it's good. Play with this prototype. Not gonna do this because what I'm interested in is your story, your thinking style. It's I like to see this like process, but I don't necessarily learn anything from it. I really hope that you will now continue by telling your story because I can see that you were doing the following like design process and it's like the same information you're repeating for myself, right? You said the process, here is the evidence you had the process. I mean, I'm glad. I like to I like to see that you have it, but I'm interested in the story. So I want to get engaged with the story and I don't see anything about your story. Yeah, that's something I'm definitely missing. Um, and you don't need to write like every single this is heuristic research, here's understanding, here's prioritization. No, I just want to see key points how you went from research to solutioning. So even saying like what you have learned from heuristic analysis, just a key bullet point like um, the key I don't know, market competitor is this, and this is what we are trying to stand out, blah, blah. Here's how I understood, here are key points from users. Ideation, we have developed these three concepts. I was thinking between this and this, and I prioritized this because of this. That's what kind of thinking I'm looking for. I'm missing it here because it's just evidence, but no story. Colors, I think the shadows here just are overkill. They're unnecessary complicating the visual style and making it a little bit old school. I would definitely drop the shadows. Typography is very small here. I mean, I probably understand that you were going, it's a picture. Yeah, it's a picture. But it's like, I can't see anything here. So kind of making it bigger would make more sense to me. Um, even you don't have to repeat the same like this is 12 pixels. It's enough that you make it bold and clear and I will understand that 12 pixels is big enough, but here I can just read anything. um, and this one is actually really nice that you have arrows and specify and clarify the stock status by adding color. This is really cool. I like those details and I like the handwritten style here. Fantastic. However, I'd love to see before and after as well because I don't understand what you have added, what has changed as much, right? It's just anything like toggle between before and after would make it more interesting experience. I really like those details. I think that's a good experience. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, I don't need to see your components. And also those components are not great, to be honest. Very small rounded corners, fully rounded corners, not great match. Yeah, but other than that, I think it's a pretty good experience. Let me see what's the video here. It's definitely longer than first impression. Okay. All right. It's not gonna go through everything, but it looks pretty solid. I think for the junior designer, it's a pretty good start. Definitely, you need to add more story here, and definitely you need to support your text with visuals. So sort of breaking down text, visual. Obviously, add more story and takeaways from each of those sections. But your like end results looks pretty good. So it's a good project for me. All right. Moving on to the next project. I will not close it just for now. The next project was Tiara by Design. Okay, I'll start doing more like kind of quick reviews because obviously I'm out of time already. So, Tiara by Design, welcome to my portfolio where I break the mold of traditional design. Ooh, very, very eccentric, interesting. I'm not just a designer, I'm visionary, strategist, creator of remarkable experiences. So in general, it's interesting because it is different from typical bios I'm reading. Like typical would say I'm an experienced designer. I work on usable products and stuff, like very very cliche things. But here's different. However, I think you're also overkilling it with overselling yourself. So for example, I'm a creative. I'm not just like any other designer. I'm creating remarkable product experiences, and I don't love when you're selling yourself too much because I want to decide if what you say is correct, right? So don't put the words in my mouth. First show, and I will then believe it or not. So show not tell, rather than um, selling yourself so much, especially if it's a first impression. I think like it could create just a little bit of a red flag, but I'll keep scrolling for now. Tiara, and I see that your logo is Tiara as well. It gives me my first impression is like you're probably very confident, and it's not a bad thing. It's just let's see how it is in the future and in the next stages. Okay, so Tiara, empathetic designer. You're already saying visionary strategist creator and remarkable and empathetic. I'd love to kind of have a more concise message. So decide what you want to be your selling point. What's your key sort of value that you can offer any company, any business. So focus on one thing. Don't oversell yourself with more and more adjectives, explaining how great you are. Like tell me you're a visionary strategic person, great, I'm gonna focus on that. Now you're also telling me I'm empathetic, so that's it's important because all designers have to be empathetic, but then you're selling an extra feature and an extra feature and an extra feature. You kind of want to start from strong impression and specifically say here's what I'm good at, and then build up on that with your projects. Diverse background, design, management. This is good. I mean, this is something I'd actually love to see here in the beginning, just because like specifying your background, because it also contributes and kind of supports your key message that I'm good at XYZ. Um, Brands I have privilege working with. This is really cool. I mean, obviously, Apple always gives a good first impression. Intel Circle, 5 years of experience. And users touched. Okay, interesting. Oh, this is gonna be just. I don't know if you need to have this as links because I'm like curious what will happen if I zoom and click on this, but nothing really happens. It's just a dead end essentially. So I don't think you need to have this as links. Just pictures would be enough, like you had it here, for example. Um, Product. Oh, I really like this structure. I usually don't like, I'm not a big fan of Notion because people go for a very simple and like default navigation, but here I really like you have like very good sort of breakdown of information. It's easy to go through. Nice testimonials. I'll probably go for a more carousel format with like more horizontal lines because this way it's just a little bit harder to read. You have a lot of lines, and obviously those cards are all jumpy. They have very different sizes, so not a consistent experience. So yeah, I think it will be easier if you just use one size kind of horizontal card, if it's possible. Other than that, it's cool. It's not enough to build products that function where that are understandable. You also need to build products that bring joy. I like this. I think this is very good that you have your sort of motto or your mindset specified here. It gives me as a hiring manager very good understanding of your how you approach your work and what you prioritize and what's your mindset, and that kind of gives that's like you did your homework, you know what you're good at, and as a hiring manager I can quickly understand if you're a match or not match for my role. So I really appreciate when designers do that. All right, let's see. I'd love to have a bit of a bigger preview for these cards because it's like a little small for me. I need to do like this to try to see what's in it. I'll probably go for this project. It looks, and also I don't know if you need to have like the in the thumbnail the iPhone background. I don't know if those three photo um camera sort of image would give me anything. I'd love to focus much more on the content. So it would be just a better experience if you really zoom in into the project, into this shot, right? Even like this and cut it and cut the font or make it super subtle so I don't focus on the font so much because it screams look at me. It's just very high contrast. Instead I would focus more on the content because that would give me an idea what kind of project is more relevant to my company. Now let's look into it. This is one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of Notion, because you would open some sort of pop-up, and pop-up is useful for like a quick task, right? For one user flow task, and I have to look through the whole process, so it's just a little bit abrupt, full that I can click away for a second. But yeah, let's open it, go for full screen. Now let's do it. Ready Health, end-to-end user experience on telemedicine apps, streamline healthcare. It's a lot of text, to be honest, and I'm not 100% sure I installed it immediately. It's like end-to-end user experience of telemedicine app to streamline healthcare. I would just simplify it. Use ChatGPT to ask, I usually love the prompt that says, please make this title more easy to read, or five grade student will understand, or something like this. So something that will simplify it, because it's just a lot of hard words, let's say so, not so tangible. Technologies, no, I don't care about technology right now. Collaborators, no. Okay. Research, fine. Client makes sense. Background for my UX bootcamp. This is a bootcamp project. Okay. Um, I have decided to tackle an issue close to my heart, health accessibility. I inspired by a struggle family. Oh, this is really good. I really love that you have actualized the problem and told why you chose this. It's pretty cool. 3-week journey. Okay, yeah, I think you don't need to remind the same information that you have mentioned here. I think just focusing on the story will make sure people read, and then as soon as they read something I already know, for example, the timeline, then I'm getting bored and I stop reading and I move on to the next thing, looking for something I still haven't learned. The objective. Objective sounds, you're describing this app, but objective sounds like what's the goal, right? What you were trying to work on. So objective doesn't tell me what you're supposed to figure out in this project. So yeah, I think this is a bit confusing. Steps to research design, explore section below to develop into practical. I don't have to know this. I think it has to be self-explanatory, so I don't know if you need to have this title here. The results, it's pretty good that you have results here, but I don't know if I would go for prototype right away because I don't know yet your um, what I'm trying to do here, right? I don't understand necessarily what's the goal, what am I trying to achieve here, what are the user stories or jobs to be done. So I think you first need to build the context before I start going through it. Otherwise, it's just randomly clicking through I don't know what. Right? I cannot connect the user story or user research insights to this eventual result. So it's a bit of a early to me. It's good when you show like project right here, like I said in the previous project, put it up front in the beginning, show the end result, real beautiful big screen image. Um, but then this is an interactive prototype and I just don't know what I'm looking at yet. Okay. Key takeaways and lessons learned. Oh, okay, that's because you haven't. Okay, I'll have to go through these 3 steps. It's a bit of a not great experience that I have to click separately to different sort of tabs within this project because it's a lot of back and forth to me. And like I already said here, when you start, it's already a little bit of a bummer that you have a pop-up. Now you have to zoom and open it. Now you also have to go inside another pop-up, some sort of, and then close it, and then another pop-up, and then close it. So, it's like a lot of back and forth. I don't know if that's necessarily a great experience. Let's see, but you have some research, which is great. I love to see in the research like key points, like what did you learn from this research? Because it's a lot of text. Can you maybe use some sort of one tagline, one title that tells me this is what I have learned, or these are 3 points that I decided to focus on based on the research. And right now it's just a lot of text. I will probably not read it. Okay, again, insights. I need insights. It's good that you have done this work. It tells you something because you're much more involved and in depth understanding the project. But for me, it's just not. I don't know what I'm learning here, right? That you said that some of the projects have status updates, some sort of features. Some of them are easier to use, some of them are not. But again, what did you learn from doing this research? What's your what in this project you're trying to achieve? Usually when we're talking about market research, you want to say that here is the gap I have found in the market, and I'm going to use this to leverage strategy for this project, right? So we will focus on XYZ because we have found that XYZ is a gap in the market. That's what kind of I'm looking for in the analysis. Researched and interviews in 1 week. Looks fun. But again, I'm trying to see what I'm learning here. Patients preferred. Okay, no, these are the interesting fact. These are the interesting sticky notes. I would read them, but because it's a pop-up, I have to sort of scroll, zoom in. It's a little bit of a not great experience. Also, this one I just can't, and I will not be downloading it, and I'll have to zoom like this, which is not a great experience. Problem. How might we run case study? Okay. Okay. Generally it's good, but it looks very strong like a bootcamp portfolio, to be honest. It's just this follow process you have followed instead of story you're telling me kind of approach. Feature prioritization, user flows. Again, I believe you did these. I believe you're following the design process. I'd love to learn what are the key takeaways from each of those stages you have gone through. That will tell me a story. Sketches, wireframes. Again, I cannot see anything here. Oh, okay, now I can. Great. This is what I like to see. I'm very interested in sketches. It'd be great if you would just remove unnecessary layers here, because first I have to click on this. Then I'm seeing the iPad, which again is a nice photo. However, I want to, all I care about is show me the details, show me these like sketches. I really want to focus more on details. And so in my case, I would definitely prefer if you would export this picture and put it all very big and bold, so I don't have to click 3 times in order to zoom into it. Yeah, because this is always the most interesting thing, because it tells me you're thinking, how you are looking for direction. Prototype. Okay. Not gonna read. Branding. All right. It's not bad. I mean, in general, it's not too bad. There are definitely comments regarding details, like in terms of UI design, but for the junior portfolio, it's not too bad. It has room for improvement, but it's not something that I would like, oh, no, I'm not going to use it. It's bad. Details are not great here. The UI design has some errors like spacing, the interaction design box within the box, just small things like, or like 2 lines, and what happens if this person has a bigger, longer name, how it will wrap, stuff like this. So it's not the best UI, but again, I understand it's a junior portfolio, so it's not bad for starters. And also, when I mentioned earlier, I'd love to connect jobs to be done or user stories to the prototype. Now, you have shown me this final prototype, but I still did not know what I'm trying to do here. Maybe even you can still use this prototype embeds and click through different flows. Just add more description here. I believe that in Figma, you can add descriptions to the flow, beginning of the flow, and just right under those titles, it will say, as the user, I want to achieve XYZ because XYZ. That will already help me to go through the flow, because I will have a story in mind. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much it. I will maybe like this one as well, really quick. Okay, this one does the same thing that the previous one. I don't know if I need to see this. User journeys. No, I don't know. Generally, it does feel like a bootcamp project, but it's not bad. And I'll just try to focus a little bit more on telling your story and better navigation within Notion. That will make it easier for me to follow. But again, always focus on the titles. Your titles is your uh, book structure uh, story, basically. When you open the book in the bookstore, you scan through the titles, you scan through the table of content. It has to tell the story, because otherwise you're losing the engagement of me trying to go back and forth, clicking on different links, trying to learn what you did. Because everything you're communicating with your outputs is just telling me you checked the boxes, but you're not telling me what you have learned, what lessons you did throughout this project. And that's what I'm looking for in terms of the story. Okay, moving on to the next project. I'm taking much more time than you should be, so bear with me. Let's see here. So we have Anna Butko. Anya Butko, user experience designer with a background in research, international development. Again, I really love to see that you do mention your background. Research sounds very interesting to me. I'm definitely immediately interested. Where did you work? I would love to know, how did you learn research? What did you do before? International development does not strike the bell with me, but still interesting to see. And like I said, I definitely would love to see your photo here, because this this pen is very strongly gives me the stock image vibes, and I don't think you want to communicate that you are stock person. Like, you just want to give your personality right away. But it's a very interesting layout. First of all, I already like how it looks generally, because it gives me an idea that you will not have the same default portfolio like everybody else has. So I'm excited to start going through it. Interesting layout, really good start. Honestly, as for me, okay, really interesting project here. I can see. It seems like you have experience. You have a lot of projects beyond the case studies, getting comprehensive. I'm not a big fan of, like, again, strong adjectives like comprehensive view of my. It's like oversell, and it's a little bit corporate when you need to be super politically correct and stuff like this. So I think if you're not targeting, obviously, the corporate environments, corporate companies, then you don't need to use these words. It's just extra. Hi again. I don't see the photo right away. I see some stock image, and then I finally see you, which is finally good because you have a very nice. You can see this personality through this picture. I really love that like you're here. So I think you have a very good vibes, and I would be really excited to talk to you. But I definitely would like to see it more early. Um, Environment, my journey is one that I'm proud of, and I'd love to share it with you. Take a look. This is like kind of it doesn't tell, like, I believe we're also some degree product design environment. This is good, but then you're sort of building up, telling me something that is nothing interesting. Like, basically you're telling me, here is like, here is the background, but I'm here in the background page, so I don't need to know this. I don't need to spend my time reading this. It doesn't tell me anything. Relevant experience, extracurricular activities, major life events. Interesting. This is an interesting idea, but I don't understand. Um, yeah, I don't fully understand it, but it's interesting. I think it's still fun. My skill set, good. You have some. This is more like a CV to me, basically. It's nice in terms of approach, how I got into UX. I love the story. This is cool. I will definitely not read it right now, but it's really cool that you mentioned. True, believe technology, get a full picture and get a resume. Okay, generally, it's a pretty nice one. I wonder what is this AB? Oh, it's a homepage. It's your logo. Okay, I didn't get it right away. Okay, so let's go for the portfolio. Let's see. We have concept study, and then we have client project. I don't think it's a good idea to put the double diamond on top of it, because I want to see the final outcome, like the end result, the pixels, basically, your UI, your UX. This one is a process, which I don't know. Basically, you're saying this is a commercial website redesign, and I don't see any commercial website redesign here. Um, this is good that you have some animation, and generally it's pretty good that you put one animation pen per one viewport. If you would have a lot of animations conflicting, let's say if you would have another project with animation here, it will be harder to scan, but it's really nice that you have sort of big resolution for everything and just one animation per screen. So I love to see this. Generally, but at this point, I was like, okay, she has some style. It's interesting. Let's see the first project you prioritized, because you probably are gonna target similar companies. Really quick, designing interactive tool for window cleaning, estimation, and scheduling. Okay, makes sense. Pretty nice. Oh, this is like a little weird. It's like me hovering something. I think it's a bug that it kind of has this little I don't know what to call it, but like little hover, jumpy hover effect here, like here as well. So, but it's a very nice context. It's good to mention the weeks, type, role, tools. I also want to know what type of team you have been working with. For me, that's most important piece of information, because I need to understand. Have you had a collaboration experience? If not, actually, I think it's good you mention No, it's not. It doesn't. Didn't specify the process. So okay, I don't know who you worked with. I think it's important to know you have if you have experience working with teams. Problem solution looks good. I don't know if I need to see the letters number one and number two so big because it's I don't know. It takes a lot of my attention, and I would rather focus on like the content, but it's still fine. I think it's really good combination of problem solution, problem solution. This is good. Okay, this is like an end result, I believe, but I would rather see one big screen with like key pieces of the experience. Right now, you're taking me through the whole flow, but again, I still didn't get the context here about the client, business goal, increase conversion rate, streamline booking process, increase competitiveness. Really cool. I mean, I love that you have mentioned the goals one by one. You use a lot of like divider here, but I don't think you need them necessarily because so generally, if when you scroll down, you use a lot of those section colors, right? This is gray, this is white, this is gray again. And so I feel like you don't necessarily need to have dividers here. They're like extra, they're almost irrelevant here because I can totally understand like this information is grouped nicely. I can make sense of it. So this divider is like sort of adding extra detail, which I don't know if you need necessarily. Okay, a design process. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of seeing the design process because I know you probably were following it. Design interview process. Participant select show. Uh, letter N is missing here. Trust, familiarity, interview structure. Yeah, it's a lot of text. I'm not gonna read this to be honest. Definitely, I'd love to see even quotes in a more easy format to scan. Maybe it could be just a carousel or something like this, something I can read, because this is a lot of text in your face, and I'd probably just not pay attention to be honest. Interviews, again, a lot of text. Where is the visuals? I want to start seeing pictures. Analysis. Okay, these channels include filling out calling the company. Okay, I guess that's what you have learned. The website lacks transparent pricing. The solution. It's a lot of text. I would love to see one piece of the quote or piece of the title that tells me what you have learned here as well. Like in a previous project, competitive analysis. Cool, you have done it. I'd love to still see what you have learned here. Not necessarily. It's like it's nice you have SWOT analysis here. It's really cool, but again, maybe here instead of saying that you have analyzed for competitors, which I can clearly see here, I would love to rather see what you have learned generally from all of this analysis. Okay. Oh, key findings. These are here. Okay, actually, that's the point. I'd love to see first key findings because you want to engage your hiring managers. You want them to read your story step by step. And here you just told me, okay, I did this. I didn't learn anything, right? So if you say, here is what I've learned, now let's try my project farther. And then if you want, here is like a supportive sort of slides. That would be easier for me to build the story up, step by step. Boom. Okay, moving on. Okay, again, you're first showing the evidence, then you're telling me what you have learned. I would rather prefer the opposite. First, what you've learned, and then the evidence, because the piece of the story is what keeps me engaged and keeps me going farther through the project. Okay, even though here I don't see what you have learned. You just said, this is what I did, and nothing learned. Problems to solve, identified problems, lack of a price, poor scheduling process. How might we? This is good. I mean, I like to see this is a pretty good, easy to read information. I would follow this one, for example, general ideation. This is really good. I love to see ideation. I'd probably prefer it to be sticky notes because it's more to the point than just text, 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 text. Text is kind of boring. I mean, we still read text, right? Text is a text, but I feel like if you put them into more playful sticky note, more relevant to this stage kind of format, it will be more engaging and easier to me to read. Prioritization, impact, yeah, a lot of text. Oh, this is really good. This is what I like to see. Again, sketches, ideation, additional. Yeah, this is what I definitely want to see. It gives me idea that you go for diverging, so you are the person who don't just jump into the final solutions right away. For finding terminology, this is also really cool that you thought about details like the copy, which gives me that you pay attention to the details. So yeah, generally like it. High fidelity wireframes. This one I would rather skip because I mean, unless you did the usability tests and instead of focusing on that, I did the prototype. You would rather say here's what low fidelity prototyping kind of helped me with. If that doesn't contribute to the story, just probably skip it. Interactive prototype, okay. So again, this is interactive prototype, but please help me understanding what am I trying to do here. After multiple iterations, I have analyzed the prototype. Again, I don't think you need this copy. A lot of those copies just telling me what you did, which I understand before you even told me. What I really, really want to see here is like, what should I go here? Like, what's the user story? What's my goal, jobs to be done that I'm trying to go here from? Because otherwise, I have to kind of click away to see what you want me to do. So I'm not necessarily in the key, like, user mindset and flow. And I can evaluate if that's intuitive or not to me. Okay, usability testing before and after. It's not before and after because this is low fidelity and this is high fidelity. Unless, again, you have learned something from low fidelity and then updated it in the high fidelity. But that's not super clear right here. Okay, this is good. I like those arrows and details. This is a pretty good product thinking. I can see that you're going for a lot of iteration and exploration. It gives me a strong product thinker, which I love. This is a repeated picture. I have seen it before. Lessons learned, impact. What's the impact? Okay, so I'm just missing here. You said the key is conversion rate optimization, and then it means that you probably have captured before and after, right? The numbers before and after. So I am missing here the benchmarking, and if you have measured your design afterwards to see how conversion have improved, this is something that is very important for any CVR, conversion rate optimization projects. Alrighty. Generally, again, good thinking, but less words and more story rather than I did this checkbox. It's always the recommendation I give to everyone. Alrighty, let's do two more projects. Oh my god, I'm definitely running out of breath because it's a lot of. I'm kind of definitely not doing it speed reviews, but almost in-depth reviews. But anyway, so we did this, we have done this. Only two more left. So this one and this one. Okay. Okay, this project. Let's try to re-upload it. I'll check if I missed something important in the chat. No. Good. Great. Okay. So Harshy designs. First impression immediately. This layout is a little bit off. I don't know. It's definitely a little bit off. I like the font though, but generally, again, you want to see an easy to read experience. This sort of like blue square, blue rectangular. It's like it almost gives me a banner size feeling, but not necessarily huge key piece of information I want you to learn right away. So I would consider centering it, making it bigger, making it again in the center, not somewhere that just keep it away and focus on the numbers and then hit the cap. I believe that I would be resizing it. Okay, so in this case, it makes sense. Maybe this is just a breakpoint problem. But yet, I would still consider making it bigger, like some sort of full screen and viewport only captures this information. And only then, as I start scrolling, I go to the project. Because otherwise, you can end up in resolution like this, and that's not the best experience. But generally, I get it. And also, I'm still missing the photo here, really, because when I see projects like this, it gives me a very marketing sort of sale approach, gives me an idea that you're trying to market yourself, but it's like you're not a person and I'm looking for the person for my company. So you're not telling me you're a person, you're giving me like, this is a product, which I don't know if it's the best approach, especially if you're looking UX mature companies, to be honest. Simply because, yeah, we are working with people and we want to have nice people working full time, spending so much time working together, kind of context. Okay, clients gives me an idea that you're probably a freelancer, and if you're trying to look for the full-time job for employment job, you don't want to frame it as clients, or even if you do, I would rather keep it as like a secondary information, not something right away that you like scream, because yeah, if I'm looking for a full-time designer, I would not go for the freelancer, simply as that, because I need you to be able to work within the product team context for a while, right? I need you to be able to embed it, go in depth, work in team, go through conflicts and stuff like that. And when you're working for clients, it's a fixed time project. Not always you'll be able to, go that in depth. Um, so yeah, all projects. And I also, one more thing, you did mention branding, UX design, illustration. I'm not a big fan of having multiple positioning, because I mean, it's good that you have like holistically same still like within user experience framing, but when I'm looking for a full-time designer, I'm definitely looking for in-depth person, somebody who is specialized in product design. And when you're saying branding, illustration, and etc etc, um, then you're telling me basically that you can do a little bit of everything, but not everything in depth enough, which again, for a freelancing position, if you're looking for freelance clients, totally makes sense. Go for it. I think clients would appreciate it. But other than that, if you're looking for product design role, I would not go for so many specialties, because you either need to have like 20 plus years of experience, which I see you don't have specifically from the first impression, or yeah, if you're applying for freelance, then it makes sense. So yeah. Okay, projects. Yeah, I can immediately see from your like even high level preview, you have a very different projects. You have here web design, here app design, here are some banners, here's UI challenge, here is fundraiser, all the very different positioning. I don't know. I mean, I don't love to see so many different positioning, because right away I don't trust you that you're a specialist and you know what you're doing so well. I see that you tried everything, but how good you are, how much you're in depth, and how sure you are you can bring my product to the next level. This would not communicate it, to be honest. And book layout and comics, it's just too many, way too many things that you're doing, to be honest, for full-time jobs. Okay, UX design, design, research, validate, case studies. If you are going for the product design, I don't think you need to have photos here, because it doesn't tell me. It tells me maybe the photography thing, but what you do, like, I don't understand from this preview that this is going to be UX UI project. The thumbnail is not telling me that. But also like some details here. I don't know if I'm a big fan of the hands here, because I cannot focus on the preview for this project. And even the fonts, like I said previously, the black color has a very high contrast, so I cannot see the content behind it. I will need to do like this, and it's not a great experience. Okay, let's click on just one project really quick, because I'm like speeding through things here. Oh, okay, a very different layout right away, and very weird as well, because you have white space here and a lot of white space here. I guess it's a bug. Let me try to rescan. Yeah, that's still not great. Okay, there is weird layout here. I like this color though, like the green color. And it's really nice you mentioned the context. So I think like it's a good potential. Probably here you wanted to include your final end result, your final picture, some sort of UI shot, but I don't see it here. I'm not sure why. And again, you see this left alignment, and then central alignment. And again, generally, I think like you have a good potential here. So you start with like, who are the users? What's the ultimate project? I think your layout here is not perfect. I thought first that maybe those titles are like key takeaways, but these are not. These are just titles, and titles are rather better, on top of the content, because that follows our scanning F pattern, and this one is a little bit all over the place, to be honest. So I have to read this, then I have to read this title to just connect it to this content. It's not so smooth, top down, left to right. Yep. Okay. Moving on. Oh, okay. This is it's like content closes the design. I don't get it. It's very contradictory. And again, like you have a lot of big like user insights, something, and in between nothing. Layout is definitely off here. This is very weird. I don't understand why you have copy text, three cameras. You basically, I mean, it would be great if you can show the photo and next to it give the note, or when you hover, or when you click on something, you add the note. But when you are hiding the content behind the note, it's just weird. Heuristic analysis, a lot of text. I'd love to read. Okay, this is better. Still, it's a little bit overwhelming in terms of how much content you have put together right next to each other and no spacing. And also, you have much more space on the left than on the right. It's a bit weird. Information architecture, I cannot see anything from here. It's always the same problem. Like, it's good that you did it. It seems like a big project, very, very in depth. Just, I can't learn anything from here. Okay, redesign again, white space here. Okay, this preview is not too bad. I think there is a problems with accessibility, like this green I cannot understand. I cannot read anything of this light green on the white. It's not, I mean, this green would work much better on the black background, like here we can see, but definitely not in the white. So immediately see some accessibility issues, like even here, wired come offline. I think you can definitely do better job with communicating this as an offline thing. Um, yeah, definitely there are nuances that I am considering here not so strong, but to be honest, I think the general like layout is much better here than in your website. This is not too bad, to be honest. Yeah, I think generally it makes sense. I mean, still, it's very for mobile, it's overwhelming, so much content, and my fat fingers will not be able to click on something like this. So yeah, accessibility wise, I see it's your poor, not poor, but the weak side. But generally, I think again you have a potential here. Yeah, my fingers would never be able to click on those very, very tiny buttons. But I see what you're trying to do here. Okay, this is not too bad. I think that you're actually having some, like, even though you position yourself like very multiple skills, when it comes to product design, you can have a potential here. I would still improve your UI design skills and accessibility and sizings and colors and contrast. However, generally, I think you have a good potential here. Some interaction design is also off. Like I didn't get that I can select this unselect until I scan down, and then I sort of in my head realized this is me clicking. It's not the most intuitive interaction design, and also this button is just so off. Anyways, I think if you work with like UI designer with mentor, I think you definitely can learn and improve this a lot. Honestly, I think you have a good potential. Alrighty, this is a lot, but generally, again, good start. Still not a very strong product design case. I think you can improve it to be a strong case that will make a cut in the application process. Alrighty, the last one. Let's go for the J, and and then I'll finally get into the in-depth product portfolio. But honestly, I think I've in this stage I actually went in depth for every single portfolio. So I don't know if it's a good bad thing, but it is what it is. I am very passionate about details, and I just can't stop, I guess. At the heart of design lies the opportunity to solve problems. Very interesting. I kind of like it. I kind of like it, even though it's very cliche. It still is the same information that I see a lot of time designer says, like I solve problems with design. It's reframed, but I like that you start with like hard design opportunity. I think it's an interesting framing, which is much different than from what I've seen it. Digital product, 7 years experience in the field. I love crafting thoughtful, sustainable experiences. Honestly, I think from all the portfolios we have reviewed today, this has the biggest, strongest first impression. As for me, I would probably consider watching this portfolio much more in depth than the rest, simply because it's like very. First of all, it's easy to scan, right? Big bold text, really nice typography here. You show that you have some ideas. You're not overselling yourself with animation. You're just having tiny details that show that you know how to create interaction design. So it's pretty cool. And also, you have an interesting framing about who you are. And you mentioned years of experience, sustainability, which is interesting, something new, but I'm definitely now curious what I will see further. Research tests, conversational design. Okay, nice animation, but I feel like this is what most of us do, right? We all do research, we all do product design, we all do testing. Digital sustainability, X desire, conversation is a new piece of information. So maybe I would just make it. I would even consider removing it, to be honest, because it's what I expect you to do in the first place as any product designer. And these are your specialities, and this is very interesting. This is what I would definitely look for, because it gives me an idea about your passions, what you want to work, especially if you are targeting companies that are, having projects in conversation design, whatever, and other niches, case studies. Mm, Very interesting. I mean, I'm trying to see if I like it or not because these previews they don't give me any idea about the projects that are inside. It has some philosophy in it. I don't know if I get it right away, to be honest. Like this leaf is probably something sustainable, and this one doesn't. It's very default, like book, person, and phone. It's very default. This is something I can use in any project. I don't know. It's very risky to use this kind of very sophisticated approach because I don't understand what I'm clicking on. And there is something more. Definitely accessibility is an issue here. I cannot read it. It feels like it's disabled text, but I can select it, so it's a bit weird. Also, you know what? I noticed just now that you have the image here, not image, but your logo here. I don't know if you need to have it white on the white. It's obviously not easy to understand. Like I barely noticed it, and I think it's better if it is always some sort of gradient stays on. I could understand this is the link to the homepage, but when I hover it, it's just a bit of a weird experience, don't you think? Yeah, I would never notice, you know. Okay, there's something more. Small firm initiatives, personal project. This is fine. Okay, it's. I would not include here coming soon if this one is clickable and this one is not because it's inconsistent semantic experience because they are looking the same, meaning that they will have the same experience. But when you hover on some of them, one is already existing project, this one is not. So it's just like a bummer. You don't understand what am I doing wrong if I cannot hover on this one. You know, only then you read the small text telling coming soon. So inconsistency. Okay. Okay. Very strong first impression, but then when I scan down to these projects, I'm not convinced, to be completely honest. But I'll click on this. Again, very nice and light first impression. I like the fact that it's like breathy. It goes from up to from bottom to top. Good experience. Lead role, definitely is it's promising. Well, I would be delighted to provide with in-depth case study on this product showcasing the bulk of my work. Okay, interesting. So it's basically an NDA project. I don't see anything, any previews. Oh, this is a very off. I think it's like a bug because you seem to be a very strong product designer, but the accessibility is so poor here. Like I cannot, even when I hover on this, I cannot read it, right? So I don't know why it is like this. So I get it. This is an NDA project. I will probably click away. I'm not gonna read it. Let's see this one. Augmented reality, pretty cool. um I would love to see not this banner like educational, some sort of marketing banner, but definitely your end product results. I'm missing it here, understanding the problem, a lot of text, outputs. Am I learning something? Nope. And again, weird accessibility. So, I don't know, like you seem to be a good designer. You seem to have a very strong impressions and a very nice idea about the layouts, and I guess it gives me like a very high hope. And then I'm scrolling down, a bummer, I don't see the end result, and I then will see the end result somewhere very down, but it's like so not zoomed in. I cannot see anything. I would have to really go for like details zooming in, and I will not learn what kind of designer you are because I cannot see the details here. And it's a bit of a bummer, and it's just like two pictures that tells me that you did some UI, but that's it. I really want to focus more on the story and your end result and your product result, and I don't see it here, right? So instead of saying a lot of the problem, which I will not read, to be honest, break it down with photos so I read it. Then you say, here is an output, here's an output, here's an output, and here's an output. And I don't see, remember, like I said it in a previous project, I really would like to see titles telling me the story. Here's what I've learned from doing this. Here is how this information helped me move into this direction. And here is how this direction was explored. And here is why I chose this or another final result. This is the story I'm looking at. And right now it's just checkboxed. Like I see that you did it, but I cannot even see the details here. So it's not enough. It's not enough. And again, this is like, okay, I can see this experience, you have some flows, but how can I go through those flows? How can I see these flows? How can I understand the details? How can I understand the experience? I cannot. This is the only piece of information that tells me something about your product thinking, that you have two modes, maker and marketless, which is interesting, but this is like static. And so cannot get anything from here. Results, takeaways. This is good. I mean, I like that you focus on the takeaways and learnings. Gives me an idea that you're a growth mindset. You have a growth mindset, but I'm missing a story here so much, and that's a bit of a bummer because I really, really like the start here. Okay, let me quickly go to the chat and see what I am missing here. I will put myself here. Good. To see if there is something we need to focus on right now. Probably not on the project. On the project was sent by mistake. I meant to send the start page. Okay, good. Good that. Okay, Lindita, first of all, great to see that you're here alive. And secondly, good that we have reviewed it anyways. You had, yeah, you had discussed last time. Yeah, I was thinking so as well. Cool, 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 cool. Alrighty, so I'm not missing anything. Let's move on to the last project. Keep submitting your questions. We will go through them in like 5 minutes, essentially. And then, yeah, we'll review. Let's review back your project. Okay, go back. This will, yeah, this is the in-depth project, but honestly, I feel like at this point we are reviewing everything in depth. So first impression, I like this logo a lot. It's very playful. It gives me idea that you're strong in branding. I'm not a big fan of the layout details. Like you have definitely, you seem like to have the grids seem to be like 1,540 pixels. So it's aligned well with the project. But this text is like somehow centered but not centered. It's weird. It's weird. If I would go like if I would have this flow, or like if I would have um layout very well defined and have constraints, this text will probably just center everything because it will go much better in terms of scanning experience. um okay, hey, I'm Robin, user experience designer based in Orlando, background industrial designs, information systems. I connect dots, provide thoughtful design. Focusing on strategy, also make sure experience is a little bit fun. I love it. I actually love it. I think it's a pretty good introduction. I'm just missing a little bit how experienced you are, how many years of experience you're having. Are you applying for senior roles or junior roles? I don't get it from here, but generally, I feel like it's pretty good. You give me a background. You telling me your strong side, that you are good at strategy, and then I also think it's pretty good that you add a little bit of a personality here with the fun thing. So kudos for the good impression. I also feel like again the picture is missing here, and it's always cheap bummer because I don't know who I'm talking to essentially, so maybe putting this text to the left, aligned it with the rest of the page, and putting the image on the right would just make it much more stronger for me to connect the dots about who you are, Robin. Okay. Okay. This looks good. Generally, I still really, really love the simplicity of it. Besides of this alignment, which was a bit of the turn off to me, but I still really love the simplicity. I really like that it's not like a separated card with too many lines, with too many sections. It's really, really nice in terms of um, the content. I really focus on the content here, and even though it's like still black, like in the previous project, I did have this some sort of piece of the what is the word? My words are missing now. I had this piece of the feedback that if you're using phone dark black background, then it contrasts a lot. Here, when you are presenting the black or dark background, dark mode image or dark mode UI or experience, it actually makes sense because you then only focus on the experience and like experience within that relevant context. So details are really good here. I really like it. Apple Watch activity tracking, housemate. I still love the way I preview the project here, but I'm not a big fan of those details already. I can see that you have some work to do with UI at least. I see you're not a very strong UI designer. And this one, okay, let's see. And this one coming soon. All right. All right, I really, really love those details. This is the branding I like to see because it tells me who you are, and it supplements or complements the piece you added earlier, right? That you like to make design a bit fun. I can definitely see it, and I love it. I love to connect those dots, and it makes me excited to maybe talk to you. I'm not a big fan, very honestly, I'm not a big fan of typography here. Let me quickly check. I feel like those are very different font styles. So let me see. I'll quickly, yeah. poppings, open sans, and you have this bolt and this bolt and this bolt. I think hierarchy is missing here. Also, I don't think this is a good combination because this is some sort of open sans and this is open sans. So sans with the sans is actually creating like you're literally you cannot outline this as a title. I mean, even though it looks like a big bold color text, which looks like a title, but then the body text um, shouldn't be in the bold because then hierarchy conflicts a little bit. Also here as well, I just a bit weird. Anyways, moving on or moving back. Let's quickly click on this project because I have some critique to give on this project. I can already see. But scanning through it really quickly. Oh, it's a lot of reading. My first impression is like a. It does look a little bit like a cookie cutter experience in terms of structure. But let me go it again. Solution preview, assumed problem, not another, chore up, experts agreed. Actually, who is the room? Actually, no. Sorry. I think it's just because I have seen Persona and I have seen some sort of like these maps. I assumed immediately it could be like a cookie cutter experience, but actually not so much because I really like that your titles do tell a story for me. You're saying roommates revealed, assumed problem. I would rather include the problem, to be honest, in the title. Not another chore up, please. I really love it because it gives me an idea about the problem here. Experts agreed that continues telling the story. Who is in a roommate again telling me story. I love it. Why did your show me? Maybe this is again. You don't need to say what did research show me. Specifically say what did it show you, right? So focusing on these areas, and then research could be like a small title that I barely see, and this will drive my attention much more intentionally. Problem pivot, problem for roommates. The hierarchy with the text here is a bit hard because you have bold text, another bold text, and another bold text, even though it's a body text. It's just conflict. Like basically, usually you would go for bold text when you want to say something is important, focus here. But here you have a lot of bold text, so everything is important. So you don't drive my attention, you're actually confusing my attention. But I think I'm interested. I'm really loving the copy as you are telling your story as I go. But definitely typography is not your strong side. I definitely kind of recommend you to talk to UI, strong UI, or yeah, basically UI designer mainly. That will help you finding better hierarchy here. Even here, you see this alignment is centered, then it's left, and it's kind of jumping around, to be honest. mm. Let's go back. I'll try to go through the steps one by one. So this image looked a little bit better here because it looks bigger. You see, here is bigger. And when I click on it, it's a small one. I would definitely keep it big. Just maybe add in more screens, even though, you know, you can use the same sort of first section, sizing is good, but making this one big image sort of with a lot of screenshots or a lot of screens there I can pay attention to the details instead of doing like this, which again that creates extra effort for me. um, Prioritizing those screenshots right away for me will make it easier for me to understand if you what kind of designer you are. And then I do have a critique about this UI design because the sizings are off here. The typography is very you need work. I still have questions about why do you have like outline and then the gaps are not consistent, and it's just like generally UI, and I don't get the interaction design. For example, this heart is this. Yeah, it seems to be favorited, but if it's already favorited, then you know all those cards will have this um heart icon, and so it becomes a bit weird that in the favorites everything is hearted. So why do you even have to show it hearted? You know, if it is within the other context, then it makes sense to heart it. But if it is all the same content for favorites, you know, interaction design starts kind of falling apart as for me. Okay, my role, end-to-end experience, timeline, 2 weeks. Okay, gotcha. And still not clear who we worked with. I always try to understand was it teamwork, how you collaborated with others. Yep. Oh, it's in 2020. This is actually a very old project, then it makes sense. The only critique I would definitely give right away is that it seems to be the 10 years old project. Is this the result is all 10 years old? then I would definitely not prioritize this project because you probably have evolved a lot as a designer, and kind of, showing the end result that has UI design that is still very weak, is not telling the best story for yourself, because I definitely see that you have evolved from at least the, UI design in terms of the first impression right here. So it's a bit weird that you're putting this as a second priority project on your homepage. Solution preview, yeah, definitely have issues with this UI design, to be honest. Assumed problem, we quickly discover not the case. Not another chore up 20 years. No, 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 no. It's a lot of text, a lot of text. This is better, but still a lot of text. Yeah, I definitely would not read it. Who's the roommate? I like this choice of the character, even though it's actually very different from this style. This is a very famous sketch doodles by what is his name? Pablo. But it's different than here. I would kind of make it consistent, just again to focus on the content rather than on my brain. As I guess every human brain tries to find differences, because this is how we operate. We try to see what's wrong. Are you trying to tell me something with a new pattern? And when I see new pattern, instead of focusing on the text here, I'm actually focusing on the images. Okay, who's the roommate? Yeah, I'm not gonna read this. I think like these points should be either in here or in here. If you have two columns with a lot of text, what do you want me to read first? I'm not gonna read everything because I don't have time. So I want you to prioritize, for me as a designer, prioritize my attention to one or another side. Poor communication tools, self-reflection. Okay, again, not gonna read the small text. I would either make it super small, make it like 2 lines, 2 3 lines at max, or don't even put it here because you are overwhelming me and you're not helping me to understand your project very well. Okay, like I already said, a lot of conflicting boldness here. Not gonna read. Solution. Solution and process is fine. Mid fidelity, but it's weird. Like mid fidelity wireframe already looks like almost the same as high fidelity wireframe. Everything you have added here is just the gradient on the back end, on the back, which is weird. I don't know. I would not even include this, to be honest. I would rather say, instead of output fidelities, I would say what you have learned here. Like maybe you started here as your exploration, then you moved here to first test it as the high fidelity, but you have learned that maybe it's not, I don't know, strong contrast or something, doesn't tell the story, or branding is not on top, on like spot on, so you have moved on to this. So if you would maybe have it as a story and not just like my fidelity outputs, if you would frame it more into evolution sort of story, that would make it a bit easier for me, at least, to scan or tell a story better. Mapping it out looks good. I mean, in terms of the size, I like the sizes, it's easy to understand. I would assume that those blue lines would be the key kind of MVP pages that you prioritized. Branding with wellness in mind. Okay. No, a lot of text. Usability. Ooh, this is a nice touch. This brush is a very nice touch to it. I like it. I feel like it would be great if you would repeat it everywhere else. Usability test. Yeah, it's just a lot of text, to be completely honest. It's a lot of text all over the place, from left to right, from boldness to another boldness. I would simplify it so much. Yeah. Um, okay, this is good that you are breaking it down, but honestly, at this point, I feel like I have seen this image already so many times that I actually want to see more interaction design. So at this point, I would rather click through it, the flow. I would sort of say, here is the user journey, here is the user flow. Try to go through this job, right, through this task. And I would click through it and try to see how it is achieved. But right now, it's just another time I see this screenshot, which I've seen already many times. Short, easy, insightful. No, this is like marketing. Don't oversell it. Just tell me specifically what you did. Um, Return to the insights, reflections. Okay, a lot of text. I think even like bullet points would make it easier to read it here. A note about tech and therapy. Here, a few resources getting started. Oh, this is very nice. Honestly, this is really nice. Like the fact that you include in resources, not like here is what I have used for my research, but more like, hey, if you're looking for similar projects, here are the resources. This is really cool. I would even make it big and bold because it gives me something valuable, I guess, for my work as well. Uh, oh, okay. It seems to be carousel that isn't moving. Okay. So, oh, this one is much better. So much better UI design wise, but still a lot of text, a lot of text, a lot of text. This is cool. The fact that you have this screenshot is very cool. The pictures, but it's very overwhelming again together with the text. Text. It's everywhere. I would use really this image as one full screen and make it easy to scan so I will be able to go through the story on my own sort of pace rather than kind of being overwhelmed. And UI design is so much better. I mean, obviously you're using the iOS design kit, but it is it just makes a better job for you. Text. Okay, yeah. I think again, you do have a good start. You have a really nice brand in here. I'd really love to see those details. I think you kind of need to keep instead of following like very recommended cookie cutter experience in terms of the process you're describing, I would really kind of add more vibrancy and personality like you had it here. And you actually have a really nice copy. When I started reading the first project, you were going through the story, which was telling your personality, but also was keeping me engaged because I was learning something about this project. I was really kind of double down on that and remove a lot of text and just focus on the story. Imagine you are telling a fun story for a kid. You don't want to overwhelm your viewer with so many details. Just keep that, and it will be much easier to scan through this project. And I would be also very. I think you are on to creating a delightful experience. It's just the details that are have to be still worked out through. Okay, so we have gone through a lot of projects, did we? Thank you so much for sticking through all those projects. I feel like I have talked so much. Now let me start sharing my screen, and I will start going through the questions. Let's see if I missed something. No, I didn't miss anything too much. Perfect. So questions. Let's go. I'll do 10 minutes and then I'll have to wrap it because it's been a big session already, I believe. Mm. So the first question by Ren, shown on the screen. What's the major difference between junior UX designer and associate midweight portfolio? I think actually the hierarchy is a little bit wrong here, but that's totally my biased perception. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like first associate, no, actually first trainee or associate, then junior. No, to be honest, I feel like associate and junior are very similar. That's at least my perception. And honestly, in our design industry, it is so confusing. Different companies, different demographic, different I guess maturity levels, everything tells their own story, so it's very different. My perception, very like subjective obviously, it's always trainee, then it's junior or associate as the entry level professional, and then middle, and obviously then senior and moving on. And so what's the difference between junior, let's put it like trainee and junior, because I think the question is really what's the difference between early designer and then the junior, and moving on to the next ones. So I feel like the key difference is honestly, I would even remove these layers. I don't think the difference today makes any difference, if that makes sense, because there are not so many junior designers roles there. Mostly companies looking either for middle level designers or seniors, junior designers, and you name it, right? Trainee, associate, juniors, they will be all the same category. They will be just looking for designer who are actually looking very promising. So designer who have a lot of passion, who are learning a lot, growth mindset, being very open and easy to take the feedback, collaborative, asking for a lot of questions, really like being sort of out there trying to be proactive. That's what's kind of junior designer box it is, as for me. So I do not see much difference between trainee, junior, and associate designer portfolios, to be honest, because I would see it makes sense to separate them if there would be market offering, if there would be market positions for these different roles, but there is not. Unfortunate reality of nowadays, and unfortunately I don't think today it makes sense to separate those, even though I kind of feel like there could be differences in terms of the skill sets, in terms of the depth of knowledge, in terms of the attention to details. However, still, yeah, I don't think there is a market for junior designers today. So it's all one sort of one group of roles. And yeah, then it's very clear when you move towards middle designer, it's almost like a senior designer, but then the senior designer would always operate a little bit more in the more holistic complex environments with different teams and understand the product ecosystem and business. So it's then becomes, the more senior you become, the more sort of focus on the strategy and the business and collaboration you are. Whereas the junior designers, so entry level designers, they are usually much more focused on the tactics and much more focused on like designs and outcomes. Sorry, not outcomes, outputs. So that's usually the key difference you see right away in any portfolio. I do hope it answers your question though. All right, let's resolve it and moving on to the next question by Xenia. Let me put it on screen. Yeah. So based on your experience, should CV be a 1 or 2 columns? To looks cleaner, I've heard one comment is better for machines. Yeah, ATS, application tracking systems for machines in many companies. Which soft resumes, sort resumes. Someone recently told me that to redo from 2 columns, which I'm confused. So somebody who told you 1 column is sort of a safer option to go is correct. That's always, if you want to go down the safe path, go for 1 column, even though it could be 2 pages essentially. Uh, However, it's so the application tracking system, the way they process the information is the way you would kind of select and copy scan your experience. I don't know. I probably don't see my screen right now, but imagine. Actually, let me quickly share my screen. Uh, this window. So you see, as I'm selecting this information, I'm sorry for like a lot of screens inside, but as I'm selecting this information, this is exactly what ATS, so application tracking system, is doing. So the way your file is structured, it's the same way that your information will be analyzed and scanned through by the robot. It's as simple as that. And so that means that if you have your PDF and you can select it from left to right, top to bottom, and the structure will be preserved, and it will be literally the same structure if it would be 1 column, then you're still safe. I personally go for 2 column PDF or CV just because, oh, not just because, but just making sure that when I select and copy paste my information to any text document, could be Word, could be text, notes, whatever. But when you sort of export a PDF and then select all the text left to right to the bottom, when you select it, copy paste it and drop it to any sort of text editor, and if it all save the same structure as if it was in 1 column, then you're safe. Because the key problem with 2 column CVs is that not the scanning, but the information hierarchy conflicts. And so if it cannot kind of pick up the information and drop it into plain text editor and still make sense of it, then you're risking that your story will be all confused. Like your education experience will be confused with the working experience, with your, I don't know, skills experience and stuff like that. So that's something you want to avoid as a risk. So 1 column is still always the safest option, but it doesn't say that you should totally remove the 2 columns. Just make sure that when you are exporting your PDF, it is like copy pastable and follows the same structure, the same hierarchy you want to show in your 2 column CV. Okay, resolving this question, let's move on. Wait, hide on a screen. Wait a second. Okay, let's resolve it. Yeah, now it's resolved. Okay, so Fred. Fred is asking, what approach would you recommend for showcasing the UX of huge feature-packed products? Yeah, I would definitely not follow the story for huge feature-packed project. Honestly, try to reframe your story. Just kind of, no, not reframe. Try to frame your story from the most important pieces or blocks. So kind of, if you close your eyes and start thinking or reflecting back on everything you have done there, what are the key pieces of the story? What did you learn there? What were the most impressive things you have achieved in that project? And then maybe try to drive your story from the most important pieces of that story. I guess it kind of self-explanatory, but the point is that, for example, if I were to work on, I mean, let's say I'm right now working in a product company, and we have a bunch of features, bunch of initiatives. I would only include those that are most impactful for the business. I would want to say, here is how I help this business to go to the next level, right? This is how much revenue I have generated for the business. So I would just prioritize those features that actually help the business, that were the most impactful, because I actually want to look like a person who can help the business, right? I don't want to say this. I just do a lot of stuff for a checkbox. I actually want to say, here's what I can help you with. So that's the point with your story. Just try to prioritize, just like you do with the product. Let's say if you're working on MVP, you probably don't build everything right away. You're prioritizing, and it kind of goes the same here. I would definitely delve much more into the features and initiatives I worked on in the case study presentation when you have like 30 minutes for presentation. But in the initial early stages, when you know the context that hiring manager is busy and they have a lot of portfolios to quickly scan through, obviously they will not care about 20 features you worked on. They just want to see, are you good at, and there are 3 checkboxes they will try to fill in: UI design, business design, so if you have any sort of outcomes for the business, and then the process. What's your process? How you collaborate with others, how you make decisions. So if you check boxes, if you tick the boxes for UI design, the process, and the business, then you are probably going to be invited to the interview. If one of them is not strong enough, then depending on what kind of role it is, but you might not be invited, because if, let's say, UI design is not strong, even though your product thinking is strong, it still does not make a cut today in the market. So everything has to be good, in terms of, yeah, in terms of the early stage portfolios. Alrighty, moving on. Let's take one more question. I'll hide it on the screen, and yeah, one more question by Naga. So should we have about projects in the same page? Honestly, it doesn't make any difference, to be honest. At least from my experience, doesn't make any difference. If you have more to say in the about page, I think one of our portfolios today had like a lot of things to say in the about page, so it makes sense then to separate it. But if you only want to say just like a paragraph of text with key points of your background, and what makes you a designer like you are today, then it makes sense to just have it as a section in the homepage. So it depends. It also always comes back to the question, what are you trying to say? How much information you got there? What's your story? And if the story needs to say so many things, and how all those things are making you a designer as you are today, then it makes sense to separate it as a page. But if it's just a quick paragraph, I don't see why it should be a separate page, to be honest. At least my approach. All right, so let me see if, I will remove it from the screen. Let me see if we have a big, if you have a big question, I'll probably skip it, but let's take one more. So Naga also is asking, which website, Wix, Webflow, Squarespace, or anything would you recommend to build a portfolio? Framer. Today I would recommend Framer. Wix, horrible user experience. Squarespace, very templated and not always able to tell your story. Webflow, very high and steep learning curve. You will spend like another half a year trying to make a use of it. So my answer is actually Framer, because Framer gives you literally everything that Webflow provides, and it's such a great user experience. It's almost immediately, it's almost the same as as Figma, but it gives you all those web publishing capabilities with interaction design, with like input design. So it is actually literally as Webflow, but just much easier to learn kind of tool experience. So I'm a big fan of Framer right now. I'm also rebuilding my website from Webflow to Framer, and I'm having so much fun. But also, what I also wanted to say, there are a few more Webflow, not Webflow, templates, not templates, but websites that I would use for templates. For example, Contra has a pretty good one, and there are a few more, but I need to remember. I can't tell you right now from memory. I actually cover this in the web course I'm working on, so stay tuned for that one. Okay, I think that would be it for now, because we are definitely over time. Jobs on the market. So Ashley is asking advice for designers trying to find jobs on the market. Honestly, it's not an easy answer. There is no like one advice. I can speak about it for hours and hours. And actually, literally, this course that I'm working on, that I have mentioned in the beginning of this stream, is actually going to go in depth for all the strategies, because it's not just one advice. Um, Practically, mindset wise, I'll just give a little spoiler, is that it's very important to define your strategy. You either go down the crowded path with like early stage application, when you submit your CV, your portfolio through the ATS, and you try to kind of, the hardest step is always the first step. So it's like a funnel. The first step is when you lose most of the conversion. So it's when mostly people are being sort of sorted out. Because if you think about hiring manager, their first incentive when they receive 50 portfolios, their incentive is to go through them as soon as possible and click away those that have any red flags. So you don't want to kind of jump, you don't want to have any red flags. And you're competing a lot for attention in the early stages because your portfolio is submitted with hundreds of others. So it's a very crowded and hard to stand out path. Your other strategy could be slightly different. You can be more proactive, proactively reach out to hiring managers. You can be more proactive networking. And there are multiple ways how you can network and reach out to hiring managers, the steps you can take, the message you can write to hiring manager. This will sort of cut the most crowded step in the early stages and make you stand out in front of other designers. And so, yeah, again, there are multiple ways how you can strategize your approach. That's something I'm talking a lot about in the in the hiring, not the hiring, in job application strategy course. So if you missed the link, I'll drop it again, I guess. A spoiler, not a spoiler, but how do you call it? Shameless plug, I guess. You will find this link also in the start. But yeah, I'm actually talking a lot in that course there. And there are many more advices literally about how you go through this whole funnel, right? So once you stand out in the early stage, when it's super hard to stand out, once you have actively reached out to the right people and understood how you can be a match to this company, because you also need to be able to know who you target and what you have offered to them, do your homework essentially. Once you did that, the heavy lifting of matchmaking, then you need to go through every single stage successfully. And there are also a lot of tactics of how you do this, how you go through the interview successfully, how you go through the whiteboarding successfully, how you practice it and not get nervous and get all over the place when you start, going through the thinking challenges. And then, other things such as website, not the website, but your project presentation. So how do you structure that? All of those puzzles, they would all have a lot of tips around how to structure it. So I just cannot answer this question quickly here in like a few minutes. But yeah, check out the course. It should be all covered there. And we will also have workshops and Q&As literally every week to go through different questions. Alrighty. Thank you everybody who stick around for so long. And I've been talking definitely for a while. I appreciate your time and appreciate that you have been coming to those sessions. This is unfortunately the last one, and I'll probably see some of you in the master class that should start in 2 3 weeks. 3+ weeks, to be honest. But yeah, if you have any questions, I'm still here. You can always ask me anything or DM me in the Instagram or my email. You probably have my email. And I'll see you probably in a couple of weeks. So see you guys. Hope you're having a good rest of the day. And yeah, take care.